Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is High Life 420. This will be the first story time I have for y'all. It's the first time I ever partook in Molly. And I don't recommend this drug for anybody. I'm not condoning it by any means. I'm just giving you my life experience on what it was like for me. And so basically, this was back when I worked for Boeing. I got on L&I, and they were giving me about $1,300 every day for my back injury because I had a repetitive work injury due to heavy riveting and not being able to switch jobs within the shop. And so I tried and I tried and tried, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I put my 2 weeks in and quit. And so I have a dip in, by the way. I do Zen pouches. They're pretty good. I'm trying to quit. So if I spit every once in a while, I'm sorry. That's one habit that I'm trying to quit. My last habit of shitty things that I've done in my life. Also, so the story goes, I was living on my own in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on Silver Lake in Everett. And it was about $1,400 of rent due every month, and I was getting $1,300 from L&I for being put on light duty and not being able to do the light duty work anymore because the rivet guns just hurt my body so bad because it was 2 bulging discs and a torn rotator cuff. And so I got my check one day. I put it in my account. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't check it. And I should have checked it because the next day I did. And I was just in awe of what happened. I got transferred 153 million into my account, which wasn't obviously mine. But I was just like, fuck it. We're just going to let this sit here for like a good week or so and see if anything happens with it. And by the way, I do not condone Zen pouches to anybody. I just do it because I used to dip and going through a pretty stressful time in my life, and I don't want to go back to dipping. So, back to the story. We got the check deposited in my account. It said 153 million. I was like, I know something's wrong. But my dumbass didn't check it out, didn't call the bank, didn't do nothing. I just let it sit there. And I let it sit there for like a good week before I decided to do anything with it. And I was like, yo, Sebastian, I got a good problem. He was like, nobody ever has a good problem. So he hits me back up after I've taken care of all my shit, like got my rent paid, got my bills paid, got my cell phone on track, got my gym membership on track. I'm good. And I hit him back. I'm like, yo, I want to do something because this amount is still in here. And he's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do some Molly because I've heard so much hype about it. So basically, we hit up this dude from Qdoba that he knows. He knows a guy down in Seattle who knows a guy, which is why I hate this fucking drug and never condone it to anybody because you have to go through so many people to just get it, and it's an adventure and a fucking half, but it's definitely worth it when you get it. So basically, I am sitting there and I'm like, let's hit this dude up. We hit the dude up. He's like, I want some acid too. And so we go to the club to get the guy, but on the way to the club is where we run into all these problems. Because Sebastian's all like, he's trying to get off heroin, so he's taking methadone and shit. So he took too much methadone, and it made it so he had to puke. So I had to pull over on the freeway on the way to pick the guy up from the club so he could puke on the freeway wall. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to get fucking arrested right now. These dudes have so much shit in the car. And so I'm sitting there like, we make it to the guy to get the freaking Molly, and we make it to the dude's house. We get the shit, we drop the guy off, and we go home. And we're all too tired by this point because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning because we had to drive from Mill Creek all the way to UW. And that's like an hour and a half drive, easily. So we get back home and we don't decide to do it till the next day because we're like, we're going to be up for 3 days. We're all tired. We should probably get some sleep before we do this. And Sebastian comes over the next day. We start popping them left and right, and by the time 3 o'clock hits, we're fucked up. We're smoking weed, we're doing all this shit, and it's like, it was a good old time until I had to drive to go get more weed because we ran out because we didn't get more weed. So we hit up my dealer Mikey before this whole weed thing became legal, and you had dispensaries, so you had to hit up a weed dealer. That's how long I've been smoking for. So, to all those mother truckers out there that think that there wasn't a time before this where you had to go to a person's house to get all this other crap too, well, whoop-de-doo. So, anyways, we get over there, and then the molly kicks in on the way to the dude's house to get the weed. And I'm just like sitting in the car. I'm like listening to my bass. I'm just like, it's kicked in. And I'm just like on cloud fucking nine. I get to the dude's house. I give him like 3 pills for like an ounce, easily. And so it was probably the best trip ever. We probably did like $300 worth of Molly, and then the next day, after the experience, the money was out of my account saying bank error, and only $5,000 was left in my account out of that 153 million. I probably spent like 20 grand of that. And then years later, when I checked myself into rehab, this girl is telling me this story of how she got fired for a fraud check accidentally put into the wrong account. I'm sitting there completely mind fucked. I'm just like, guys, that's why you don't do this shit. And I hope you guys have a great day. Don't do drugs.